Just gonna open the meeting for the Park and Rec, Wednesday, January 8th, 2025. In attendance, David DeLaurie, Dan Welsh in person, Rick Harriman, John Wally, and Mike Shield via Zoom. We're gonna start off with public comment. I think both of you are here for the Titans, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Nobody else here for public comment?
Press the button. The remote.
Next thing on the agenda is bills and minutes. Do we have any bills?
There's
Or
no bills,
Just the minutes?
just the minutes.
Everybody have a chance to look at minutes? Make a motion for the approval.
Yes.
I'll second
Second.
the motion. Yeah, I'll second the motion.
All in favor, David DeLaurie, aye. Dan Welch, aye.
Rick Harriman, aye.
John Wally, aye.
Aye.
Next on the agenda, Wally Park, we have coaches from the Titans here. Want to let us know?
Sure.
I think we have a general idea.
So I'm Josh Santos. My partner here, Steve Renzullo, is also here. We came tonight to speak to our requests pertaining to the usage of the fields at Wally Park, specifically the 60-90 field, the 50-70, and the softball field. What we've requested from the Parks and Rec was for us to have access to those fields Monday through Thursday. The softball field right now is just tentatively Monday, but the 60-90 and 50-70 would be Monday through Thursday for practices, in addition to having access on the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays based on our home schedule. I think the concern was that that having so much access would maybe limit other partnerships that you had, but we're willing to pay the full front of costs for the spring usage of those fields before the season even starts, which would be April, just to secure those fields. As our organization is expanding, we currently have 7 teams, multiple teams for the 60-90 field. We will have 3 teams for that 50-70 field and another team for the softball field for practice. I'm not sure if we need the softball field on the weekends for games yet. We may, but most importantly, the 50-70 and the 60-90s are the ones that are probably most of our concern at this point for just that type of availability. We were wondering if the board would be willing to let us secure those fields at this time.
And you're looking Monday through Thursday on all of those?
Correct.
Is this something you definitely needed, or you?
No, that's it.
looking
We
to
are
reserve
expanding
it
and we really have a need for practice fields.
Okay,
So we are currently there. But
I think it's more than Monday through Thursday, right? It's Monday through Thursday for I'm just spitting back what I heard. Monday through
Yep.
Thursday for practices, and then the fields for use on weekends, although the softball field may not be used on weekends, but it may. Is that what I heard?
that is correct.
Okay.
So the weekend schedule, right, we don't get that until sometime early in spring, right? So we can't really nail down exactly how many home games. We'd obviously only be interested in using the fields if available for home games, right? We don't know how many home games we're gonna get, how many away games we're gonna have. That's just, we can't do anything there. But like for the Monday through Thursday, if you said, hey, like if you guys were put down X amount or the whole thing or whatever you feel is appropriate, if you felt it made sense for us to get priority on those fields, we could give you the exact like X, Y, and Z days, Monday through Thursdays. These are the exact number of fields. Like if we kind of drew a line in the sand and you guys said, I don't know, make it up by mid-February, I need exact dates. So then that way you can go to batter's box or whoever may use your field and say, hey, this is what we have left for availability. Like if we kind of said, if that's kind of what we're trying to negotiate to see if that is, reasonable from your perspective.
Yeah, but obviously need that sooner than later. And Kara, I don't know who else has been putting in requests to use the fields. I think this is the first one officially for the year. We know some people that are stacking up, but it's a little early. You guys are doing a good job by jumping in early. So,
Yeah, I think I might have provided the dates. It's the first week of April is when we'll start practicing outside. It may be less. week of March if you open up before then. And then I think we carry through at least the end of July, maybe into August for field usage, depending on the teams that want to use it. Summer's a little bit more sporadic in a sense because there's vacations and some coaches use the facility. But having those fields at least through July is really critical. So, especially with having 5 of the older teams and potentially a 6th team, which is a little younger, which would use the softball field. We've definitely enjoyed our partnership. Would love for us to give us that priority. It makes us more competitive and, keeps us in a good place to continue our partnership moving forward. So.
I mean, Saturday, Sunday time slots. One game a day for each team. I know you don't have a schedule.
It could, so they're double headers. So it could be like a 9 and 11, and then all of a sudden a separate team comes in for 1 or 3 on the same field. So it could be potentially all day. So, and again, we understand first come, first serve. If there are other teams that have their schedules already and provided that to you, we understand that, but we will try to get you at least that game schedule as soon as possible. The practice schedule is the one that probably needs to be more locked in at this juncture so that we can maintain those fields, make sure we have them.
So you're saying Monday through Thursday for both the 50-70 and the 60-90?
And Mondays just for the softball field.
Monday, just Monday.
Yeah. And I would say that we would need them from, as it gets lighter, 5 to 8, in between that time for a
On the
practice.
small field, obviously, there's no lights, so it's
Correct,
limited to the darkness. So
correct.
would you want the big diamond after 8 o'clock, after sunset? Or you wouldn't try to do it night practice?
I don't think so, because there's a cost to put those lights in.
Lights are expensive.
Yeah.
Over there, very
I
expensive.
didn't
All the way around.
I didn't want to assume that, but if you wouldn't do practice after.
Yeah, I mean, I think from our perspective too, like, we have a pretty good idea of how much we need. But if it turned into to make you all more comfortable, hey, put down X% up front or whatever that is, we're gonna go fine comb that really and make sure, okay, definitely 60-90, I'll make it up 4 days a week, maybe softball 2 days a week, and maybe 50-70, whatever, another field 3 days a week, but we can give you those like precise numbers if you have a date and if that makes sense for you. And again, if you want money up front to help, just so that there's not like, what gets tricky for us when we pay reactively instead of proactively is we have a facility, right? So if it's a 70% chance of rain, all right, let's just go indoors, not use the field. And then you expected somebody on the field that day, maybe it didn't even rain at all, right? So that type of stuff happens. So if it's more logical for us to pay up front, like that's something we can totally do.
So what's your split of teams between, on the baseball side, 50-70 and 60-90? Any projection as to how many teams of each age group?
We have 2 11U, 1 12U, which would be 50-70s, so that's 3 there.
3 50-70s,
Yeah.
2 softballs and 2 60-90s.
The 2 softballs is you're gonna add
8 and 9.
Okay.
I mean,
you're
and
gonna-
potentially, right? I think we got to go back and just nail that down, right? But if,
Yeah.
They said, hey, by the end of the week, like, give us your actuals, like, we could do that. But there's 2 teams in play for softball, there's 3 teams in play for 50-70, and there's
Okay.
2 in play for 60-90.
And maybe we can come up for the agreement on those rain days if we're paying in full upfront. If Wally Park decides to close the fields because of the weather, then that would be a credit back to the usage that we have maybe. That way, the calculation of the cost would probably be adjusted. Pretty cut dry.
That would give them credits.
Say,
They probably just use them towards the weekend games then,
Yeah,
because you
Or
wouldn't be paying the
something,
Yeah,
weekend.
it's the
up
fall
front.
season.
I think we
or
overpaid
something.
one season and you applied it toward
Yeah.
deposit for the next year.
Yeah.
So,
You can roll it forward.
yeah, I didn't know about like the cash rebate kind of thing, but
Yeah, I mean,
With the
getting a
account.
refund is not easy, but.
Yeah,
we
but I don't think we
save the
need
credit.
money back
Yeah.
in
Okay.
hand, right?
Yeah.
We'll,
yeah.
Yeah.
assuming that everything's going well, we would just roll into the next season.
Okay.
We're not really planning on, leaving this partnership at this juncture. I think we're looking to keep it as we keep growing, so.
Yeah.
you have more teams this year than,
We
Last year.
have, what, 3 more teams?
There's at least, there's the new 11 and the 8. No, there's 2 more. I think we had 5 last year and 7 this year. So
oh, that's good.
And weekends, you said, are primarily double headers, teams kind of traveling, they want.
per team, right? Per team, generally the league will give us a double header. There's sometimes where we maybe have a game on a Sunday, but we pick up a local game on a Saturday and maybe we try to use the field, right? So it could be single, but league play or double headers, but we might stack 2 league play sessions on the same day if it's available, right?
And it makes it really nice too, because sometimes our teams, you may have our 60-90 team playing at the same time, our 50-70, and then maybe another team comes in the afternoon on the 50-70, so it's really a good feel, because a lot of the parents or players from other teams stay to watch the other team, so it's a really nice overall effect
Yeah.
for the program, so.
At the same complex.
Yeah, it's a good vibe when you have multiple games going on and overlapping each other. It's fun.
I mean, I think it's, you know, they're doing what they have to do. They're coming to us early and asking for Monday through Thursday. First come, first serve. I think we have a good partnership. I would be for, allowing them to continue on with us.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I don't know who else has been trying to request field time on those fields. Pardon me, Kara, but I know,
Well, we have about 5 other teams that have been using it for quite some years. They usually don't contact me till February, March, so they are
Yeah.
super early. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
Well, you run the risk at times of them not contacting you, right? And,
Lesson learned, like, right?
Yeah.
There's a couple things that since you're here come up with this. One is when we lock this down and we do get a schedule, one of the things that we've got to do is come up with I'm just going to say it this way, a good or better way of communicating to people who may think that they can use the field, but it's being rented, right? It's the same thing we run into with the soccer fields, right? Sometimes people go down there and they just want to play some soccer, but a team has the field rented, right? And so I think last year we had some softball people that wanted to go down and practice, but it was being used by baseball. And I'm just hearing this secondhand. I wasn't there. I heard it got a little tense. So we just want to make sure.
I spoke with him about that.
Okay. I want to make sure that we only have so much space and we're trying to accommodate everything, right? And if we can keep it copacetic amongst everybody, that'd be awesome. And then the other thing is, and I'm going to apologize to the Titans right out of the gate before I say what I'm going to say. We had some issues last year with softball teams hitting balls over the fence, home runs. And some of the crowd got a little upset by that. There's not a lot we can do about that. That we do have, I know it's a oxymoron to say it's a softball, but in reality, it is a true softball. I'm sure it hurts. I pitch, so it hurts when you get hit, but it's a compression ball, right? And so if you guys have any ideas on what we can do to, like, we yell, right? We're like, hey, and everything else, but if there's a play going on your field while we're yelling, no one's going to hear it, and people just get mad, right? And I don't want that. I don't want the two fields, yelling at each other, if that makes sense.
I think maybe a recommendation, and I don't know what this involves in the sense that to do it. First and foremost, most of those teams are probably the competitor that we're playing, because our teams are typically on the third base side. So
Yeah.
the first base side is the one that's feeling the brunt of that. So I'm not too offended by it. So I appreciate the apology.
We'll keep it up then.
But at the same time, maybe you can build, put up poles with a netting in left field to kind of at least catch some of those home runs to eliminate that.
Yeah, that's what we
Actually-
do. And our little league fields have some of those that I've seen.
Because there isn't really a topper to the dugout, so.
Right. That's actually, and by the way, the dugout is just part of the problem, but I mean, they'll hit it clear onto your field, as you guys know, right? So it can hit anybody over there. And I like that idea. I hadn't thought of that idea. We should probably look into what that costs, and it is a potential safety issue. So, we as a board should probably look at that.
Are you thinking
Dave.
putting it on the softball field or?
It would be on the
Spring
softball
70
field fences. Yeah, see if I'm catching what the Titans saying. There'd be pole extensions up on the fence with some netting that would it'd be almost like Top Golf, right? Where you,
Yes, yeah.
you know, and by the way,
It's a net, it's a home run, you know, it's not.
that's it. If it hits the net, it's a home run.
You'd go.
And by the way, that would save our old people like me from having to go chase those balls. So I'm good with it.
They help, right? Obviously, if you're hitting a towering home run to the pitcher's mound on the 50-70, that thing ain't gonna stop it, right?
Yeah.
But it'll help with 75-80% of them, you know?
Yeah, I'm about cutting it down or doing something. So that's a great suggestion for you guys. I think we should look into that. Okay.
You'd have to, don't have to go from the fellow pole.
Rick, would that be a fencing company that would do those, you think?
I think so, maybe. I'm gonna do some research. I can multitask because I'm not in the room. Let me take a look at some stuff.
The other piece is with respect to the dugouts, is there any thought of maybe putting toppers on those dugouts, especially with rain? Sometimes we're still playing, but just a thought. Not something that we're requiring, but just a thought.
We can get a quote on that too and see if it's something that we want to do. You know, there's getting a quote kind of tells us what we want to do. You know what I mean? Because if it's one of those, yeah, it didn't cost that much, we'll just go do it. If it's kind of in the middle, we might want to think how do we recover that cost, and if it's something that is exorbitant, we probably wouldn't do it.
So something else I've seen over the years is when there's the field thing becomes a thing sometimes, right? It's just like nature of the beast. Oh, I went out of my way. I came down here. I thought I was gonna have a field, and there's somebody on it, right? And whoever's in the wrong, irrelevant, right? But things definitely. I've heard stories of how they've gotten, you know, intense here and there from time to time. But like something where, specifically at least for like practices, where that's like a set schedule that. I don't know, make it up. The 11U team has Tuesdays and Thursdays on the 50-70. We could get something from you guys that's just printed out with like, you know, a signature from you guys, a signature from us, and that way, I don't even need to talk. We got the field on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7 to 8 or whatever, or 5 to 8, whatever that may be, and just pull it out of the paper, out of the bag, and it cuts down a lot of the headache.
Well, I sent a schedule out last year because of that, because I had heard that was happening.
Yeah.
And I sent a schedule so everybody could see what days who has what, so you would know.
Yeah, I wonder if it's, in that case though, like, is it possibly just some random person coming down that's not even getting
has to
your
be.
calendar emails, you know, because you
It
do a great
has to
job, you
be,
send them out
'cause I send
regular
it
and
to every
like,
coach.
yeah.
I mean, it has to
So it
be.
could just be someone that came to use this field with their kid and a couple of buddies or whatever, like, it doesn't necessarily have to be anybody.
That's exactly what it was, by the way. It was a mother of a high school kid who wanted to have her kid, you know, do some practice pitching, and it just got a little tense, I think. So
I was there.
Okay, well, you know that, yeah.
Are these semi-private or public or fully private? These fields?
They're town-owned
So the
fields,
town-owned fields, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
but I
So
mean,
they're
if
public.
that's how it goes. If we rent them out, then you have priority to it. There's also more fields in town. I mean, high school fields and rec center fields that people can use that are used all the time also. So I think that's good. I know you were even sending me schedules.
I
for
was sending it
everything.
to everybody because I heard this is happening.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I
Yeah,
don't
You
know
sent them on a
why,
regular basis, I mean,
I did.
anybody that had them, right?
Yeah.
Like, there was no.
which makes me
confusion.
think the people who were using them were not auzed. I know softball is using them and there was a team up there, I didn't even know they were using it.
Yeah,
And
lots
they,
of people are gonna do it, they're just gonna go find an open field and say, hey, I was here
I-
last Monday and there was nothing there, let's go there this Monday.
they
50-70.
did. I had
Yeah.
never heard of the team
Yeah.
either, so. Yeah, I don't understand why that happens, but
So just to go back to recap, Monday through Thursday on the 50-70. My next question then is. You need it all 4 nights, you give us a schedule,
Well,
say I'll use it.
I think we should double check that with the group and just,
I did.
before we
That's
like
my-
lock all of
Oh,
this
yeah.
in.
Yeah, then
At
we,
least for
if
my-
we have Tuesday nights open, if you say you want it Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday's open for Kara to reschedule somebody else. And then the same thing on the 60-90, which with just 2 teams, you're probably not gonna
Truthfully,
practice
we're
all
not
4
gonna
nights.
book any fields right now. anyways,
Yeah,
If you can get us something in the next.
We went
couple
through
of
like an
weeks kind of thing.
exercise to say, hey, what would make them, what are you looking for your teams in the spring? And we did that, I don't know, a month or 2 back, I wanted to see that from. But I think, you know, if we're getting real about putting money up front and doing things, like, I think we just wanna go through that cycle. one
Yeah,
more
yeah,
time,
that
make sure
would-
everyone's
that would be
comfortable with
good.
Exactly what we're paying.
And if we
for.
got a couple nights that you're not gonna use, like the 60-90, you're probably not gonna practice with 2 teams 4 nights a week. I wouldn't think, but that's something, whatever you guys do, but if you said I need it Monday and Wednesday, or Monday, Tuesday, or 2, whatever the 2 out of 4 days, or 3 out of 4 days. It
Yeah,
gives us some flexibility. with
yeah,
somebody else
there
as
will
well.
be I'm sure there will be openings, I would assume outside of our use, but. I don't know.
Why don't we just say yes, we'll rent them the fields and then work out the schedules at a later date.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
you could get us something, say by the end of the month, first week of February, so we can go over it
Yeah.
the next meeting and have everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
That works.
Yes,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Do
sure.
you want us to come back next meeting and?
No, you don't have to.
Just
I think
send
we
an
can-
email over and say, hey,
Send me
this
an
is what
email.
we're gonna do, and then you guys can let us know whatever you would
Yeah,
like.
certainly have the
upfront
project
from us.
continue, it's gonna do for you guys and our park and rec, so it's a great thing for both, so.
And then, yeah, I guess the only question would be if, you know, the rain situation or whatever, obviously we just roll that forward, but how do we, I don't know how often you actually close the fields or whatever, but we can work those details out whenever. Before.
Yeah,
the
we-
first.
We don't, I don't think we actually close the fields, right? We depend on you guys to tell us if
Yeah,
playable or unplayable type
But
thing.
coaches
Yeah.
make that decision.
Yeah,
We don't want heroic efforts to get it ready for a game or practice, because that ruins the field.
Yeah, exactly.
I've lived and seen that as an umpire for the last 16 years.
People that don't know
I've
what
seen
they're
what people-
doing,
yeah,
beat
absolutely.
the snot out of the field when they're
Absolutely.
trying to fix them up, yeah.
Then the grounds guys are gonna,
Yeah, you're
Let us have
gonna
it.
hear about it, exactly.
Push, take them with a broom, push in the water.
They
so
push it out and then make a bigger ditch than there was previously.
Been there and watched them do
Yeah.
it.
okay, that sounds like a
Cool,
plan.
okay, so we'll get you something firmish by the end of the month, and then we can negotiate payment or whatever you guys are comfortable with and go from there.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Cool,
Excellent.
you guys are the best, thank you very much, appreciate
All
it.
right, thank you, guys.
Appreciate it, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
by the way, as you guys are walking out the door, I think it's gonna, I think we need to do a little more research on the netting, but I looked at one that's 100 feet in length and then 40 feet high, and without the poles, it's $420. So I think it's gonna be something that's affordable for safety, right? So I'll do a little more digging, but that's just one kind of quick custom quote I got.
Awesome,
Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Rick.
Thank you.
awesome, thanks again.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
guys.
See
Happy New Year.
everybody.
Thank you.
Take care.
I can bring that up. Thank you. We're getting plans quotes, I'll bring that up at the same time. Let's see, next thing on the agenda is Heritage Lawn Fertilizer. What I would like to do is, I'm gonna reach out to Walt and talk to him about that, because the maintenance guys just had a concern about mowing everything twice a week. I was gonna see if there's any way we can back it off a little bit, so we could maybe get away with doing all the non-playing surfaces just once a week without as much fertilizer, but I'm gonna talk to him and see if there's a plan on that. I don't know if anybody else has any thoughts on that.
I don't have an issue with that.
Don't skip a step or something, or what?
Well, I'm not a fertilizer guy. I don't do it at my house, so I'm relying on him. It's just the maintenance guys were basically twice a week, the whole park last year, and one of them was a former maintenance guy for Westfield on all their ball fields and grounds. And said it was a lot of extra work just doing it twice a week on the non-playing surfaces. I realized like the soccer fields and ball fields need it, but all the common areas, I don't know if we have to have it so it's growing and mowing that often. So I was gonna talk to him to see if there's any other options, and I can let you
I'm
know
assuming
next month.
it's probably certain times of the season, right? In the later spring when it's really starting to grow, and in the fall, but the summer it gets dry. There may be mowing once a week, depending, I guess, on the rain and whatnot.
Yeah, like during August, there was a couple of weeks, it was just once a week, but most of the other time between the irrigation and fertilizer, it was twice a week on most of the park.
That's a bit much. So,
I would think that they could be the judge of that, because I do know that if you wait too long, then they go down there and they have to rake up all the clippings. Especially out front where it seems to grow faster.
Yes. So I mean, like the front areas, my thoughts after talking with them last year was maybe if we could do something where it's not quite as fertilized or something where it's not gonna go quite as much, but still look good. I just wanna talk to him and see if we've got any options for that. I mean, cause that would probably cut down on our labor expenses a little bit. But I'll see what he has to say and I can let you
Okay.
know next month.
Okay.
Next thing on the agenda will be with you, just a quick one, Randy. The spray park. We're hoping to get that going in the springtime again. We never got it going. John Goddard was supposed to oversee it in the fall and he's taken a new job with the DPW. And will be working there full time. So I did speak with Nicole this week. She was gonna reach out to Rob Levesque about somebody to do oversight on the park so we can get going. Hopefully in March this year and have it up and running for the summer. And other than that, I have no other updates. I'm not sure if you do, John.
No, I haven't heard, I just assumed from the weather that Crestview won't be doing it, this year.
Not right now.
Not right now, anyway.
Yeah, so I'm hoping we can get it going earlier spring once the ground breaks.
It's nice, so I love it.
So being 18 months later than expected or thereabouts, almost 2 seasons.
Yes.
What's the projected cost gonna do?
I'm not sure with the cost. I'm not sure if Levesque has said anything to you, John, as far as the cost.
Cost of what?
The splash pad, like the entire project, or we look,
Yeah, what we asked for should be, enough to install it. There should be enough money in our, budget.
okay,
We have everything except, the underground stuff.
Oh, we already have the material.
yes,
Okay, wasn't aware of that.
yeah, that's all
I'm
bought
able-
already and stored.
Okay.
Okay, well, hopefully I'll have an update on that next month also. Next on the agenda is pickleball. And I see Randy's here. If anybody has any updates on that.
Dude,
Have we got that signed off by the,
Select board.
yet?
I Not real, when I spoke with Nicole about that also, and she didn't make it sound like the select board definitely had to sign off on it, so.
Well,
Well-
that's why they held it up. They said that the select board hadn't signed off on it. Cause they're the owner and the owner has to sign off.
So the last application wasn't signed off by the select board, at least what I've been able to find out, it was signed off by
But
Cindy Sullivan.
yes,
So why was there a difference now? Why are they why did they say, and I was at the last conservation meeting, saying, no, we can't deal with it because it's not signed by the select board.
I just need Rick's signature, so we have John's signature and then Rick can sign it.
And are they gonna accept it? Do we know if they'll accept it? Is it some way of finding out before the meeting? Is it on the agenda for next week? Is it next week they meet?
Yeah, it is next week.
So
I
What is
will
it?
ping. Yeah, I'll ping the board and make sure that it is on the agenda. And Kara, when I'm not gonna infect you, I will swing by and sign that and the minutes.
Okay.
you know, COVID.
I don't know.
I have no idea. I have COVID, SARS, bird flu, rhinovirus, whatever you want to call it.
You've not been on any cruises, hopefully.
Well, I can't have COVID because I'm COVID immune. So
Uh,
I've never had COVID and I'm refusing to believe that I have it. So
So can we find out, will they accept that signed by,
So
they were kind of adamant about it needs to be signed by the select board.
I think if the select board is saying that it's not us.
Right, is there some way
Anyone
of
have
finding out a definitive
I
answer
can,
though?
I'll
before we
make
go to the meeting?
I'll make a phone call tomorrow about that.
It's where your opponents have to play that game.
And I'm going to email Sabrina right now and let her know that we want this to be on the agenda.
I'll make a call tomorrow and try to get a definite, not everything, but
Yeah, just so we don't, show up again and walk away again, you know.
I'm literally just.
But is it not going on the agenda for the special town meeting then?
Not-
not in January, it'll be on in May's.
Okay.
Which most likely puts the project into the next year possibly, for finishing, based on, how busy these companies are and lining them up to do the work. I know at the conservation, meeting, Russ was there, and the company that would do the finish work on these courts out back here, I think, he had scheduled them in November, I think he said. And earliest they can get there is in June sometime. So, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, they're 8 months out.
Yeah, I don't know if it's June because we're not gonna have the asphalt down until April at the earliest now and with the
Right.
45-day wait
Sure.
period. I don't know if that's the reason why.
So,
But I'll make a call
Alright.
tomorrow and I'll get a definite from the select board on it.
good.
I'll eat the burrito back.
But the last I heard, we didn't need the signature on it, so I
Same.
just,
Same.
And we'll need to get if it's me signing it, let's assume that, I will make sure that I get it signed in enough time to get it to Sabrina so that they have it in front of the agenda.
Okay.
How far in advance do they need it? Is it 4 days, a week?
The new rules said 2 weeks, but I think we can squeeze it in because it's on old business at the very least. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So.
Good.
so Rick, I'll make a phone call tomorrow and I'll send you a text and let you know what I find out.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions on pickleball? Okay, hopefully this gets rolling again. Any other business for Wally Park? Anybody?
Yeah, just two questions. One, what are the official field fees that we're gonna charge? Do you charge different for practice and games? What is the fee? Yeah, Carrie, you tried to answer me, but I was confused as to what. just
So
I
it's-
know what the background is on that.
It's $50
Okay, which
per field use.
is pretty cheap. But practice or game, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Right. And it's no different for Titans versus Batters Box versus this over 30 leagues or
No.
whatever to it, okay.
No.
I know we had always had the 50 for the fee and we've never revisited that. So I don't know if that's something we revisit at some point.
I'll try to do some research on other fields and see what they charge. I'll just bring it in as informational purposes.
Okay,
Start a discussion on it sometime in the future.
that would be good.
I can-
$50 sounds cheap.
Yeah,
Maybe-
Yeah.
It may be in the ballpark, I don't,
I have contacted a couple surrounding towns too. I have in my notes upstairs though.
okay,
So I can give you that too.
okay.
In the ballpark, no pun intended.
And I know, John, you had mentioned before about getting the lines restriped. I'd like to get that going this summer. Talk to them, because I think our rail trail, part of it needs to be relined before it fades away, but Wally Park definitely needs it, and we did get an estimate in the fall for crack sealing up there too. At the park, and I think that should probably be done before it's striped. If anybody's.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we'll work on getting quotes for that. We already have the one for the striping, the asphalt sealing. I think that was roughly 3,500 if I remember right, but I'll double check.
I think it
Thank you.
was.
Well, while we're on the topic of striping, this is gonna sound a little out there, but how much do we care about the direction of traffic in that first parking lot? And the reason I state that is, having gone there for years, I know it's one direction, right? You come in, you go out the other side. But the lines are so faded and there is no signage that I can recall. and everybody's going everywhere, you know what I mean, coming in and
Yeah.
out. Yeah, do we actually care
I
about
think-
that?
Well, I think it would probably be better to have it like drive in the first entrance and out the other one.
That's what it's
And part of the
supposed to be.
Part of the striping would be putting the arrows and things back on also.
Perfect.
Or a couple signs that say entrance only.
You can't put a stop sign up.
No, entrance only on the inside coming in though. So I think the reason it would be that way is it's not very wide. It's not really wide enough for two cars.
Yeah.
Especially coming up the hill. For my thinking about what I've seen in the past.
Well, we'd have to approve, like, if we want to put a sign up like that or just paint them in.
Either way.
Just food for thought.
Okay, well, get quotes on doing the striping up there also. Anything else on Wally Park?
Is it too early to start talking about motocross?
We haven't had a meeting, I don't think that I recall, I haven't missed any meetings. What was the outcome of the dog trials that was obviously positioned for?
She didn't get back to us yet.
Okay, that we talked about it after the meeting and said, geez, we didn't go back and revisit it. There's some questions that should have been asked maybe when she wasn't here of our own discussion, I thought, and we talked about it informally after the meeting, just Dave and I think here. Said, oh yeah, we should have brought it up, so I wasn't sure if there's, and I had sent Kara some information about
So I got
The
back to her
background
with the
from-
price.
from Westfield Fairgrounds, why they weren't doing it, were they reputable? It was nothing but high praise from them,
Right,
so whether that got communicated to everybody or not, I
yes,
don't know how that works on which
I
we do,
forwarded
can't do.
it.
Separate, okay.
yeah, there was no conversation, but I forwarded it.
Okay.
I did get back to her with a price. And she said she had to go back to whoever heads that up and get authorization from them. So I have not heard back from her,
Okay.
but she has the information that, we would like to have that there.
Okay, she was imminent to need an answer to go back and
Yeah,
save it for
Yep.
the Westfield,
yep,
Southwick area, so,
I did use your information.
okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just,
It was
Yeah,
good.
It was all
I
positive.
took a look at
Yes,
it
it was
too. Yeah,
great.
it's,
Yeah, well,
that's a
that was-
good thing.
That was good to hear.
And he said there's like 5 or 6 or more other ones that they used to do it for. And I said, now we're opening ourselves up to how many days during the season that they. If it's parks available, fine, but are we gonna get ourselves in a box to say you can do it, but you can't? And she asked first, I understand, I have no problem with that. But,
Yeah,
he said, what about the others? And I said, well, we're not aware of any others from.
right.
But it's,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right. She was very excited that we would love to have them.
Okay.
And I gave her all the information, so she just has to get back to me.
Okay.
Or I can follow up with her.
just didn't want to have it fall through the cracks.
Nope, nope, it did not.
Anything else on Wally Park? Rick, when you were looking at that, I can talk to a fence guy. I've got to call one for something else going, leading into the rail trail anyways, but I know you had mentioned about the backstop and the gates there. Quite a few times. If that's something you still needs to be done, which I'm thinking it does.
Yeah, I haven't been down there since fall, but I'm imagining it hasn't gotten any better. So,
'Cause I was thinking if we do get a quote for the netting, I throw in all these little pain in the neck things to have them fixed, everything at the same time.
that would be
And-
awesome. Yeah,
When I'm down there, I'll take a look at the other backstops with the fences curled on the bottom like they always do and just get all that stuff, a price for getting everything fixed at once.
in the meantime, I've got a couple places that either I or someone else can call to get a quote for that fencing, because I don't even know. I just threw out 100 by 40, right? I don't, that's like saying how much water's in a swimming pool. I have no idea. You know what I mean?
That seems like it would be a pretty good size, like cover mostly one side towards the center.
That's all you
40
need
40
is, you
40
need
feet
that
up is pretty good height.
pretty good height. Yeah.
That's gonna take some
It's just-
substantial poles to hold the wind shear of a 40-foot high net. I know the poles they put up with Bowens were net is, they're 10-inch steel poles.
So that's probably gonna be a lot more than.
Oh, yeah, the netting sounds reasonable, but the poles are gonna be.
Does
feet by
Mullins
40.
netting stay up all the time or is
Yeah,
that something?
We leave it up all, it stays up all the time, and
Okay.
it's now since 2016, so we're 8 years in and. It's as good today as it was. And it's up.
Okay.
65 days.
Well, if we're getting that done, I might as well get the random odds and end things quoted too with it.
Yeah,
Okay, and from there leading into the rail trail, we also have a fence along the rail trail that is behind Our Lady of the Lake Church. I took a look at that. There's probably like 40 feet of it that's squashed down to the ground from trees falling on it. I guess somebody reached out to Kara about us repairing it. But I don't know who put the fence there in the first place or how long it's been there. If it went up with the rail trail or if it was up with the church before that. So I don't really feel it's our responsibility unless it's something that went up along with the rail trail, but truthfully. You can't really see this section from the trail. You have to walk up a little embankment and it's behind the far back part of the church. So I'm not sure whose responsibility it is anyways, but I figure if it was ours, but I don't know how we'd find out. I'd get a quote on that at the same time.
Yeah, it's even before my
just
time.
that
I didn't
question,
even
my
know
question would be
there's.
how
fence
wide
there.
from the rail trail, say the center? What is our right of way? What is?
So
our
I looked on
legality?
that part and it is the border of the church's property and the rail trail's property. But I don't know where it went up in the, or when it went up.
And with
We asked the
would have
church.
this,
Cause I assume the church would tell us the truth, right?
I can't comment because I go to that church sometimes, Rick, so.
All right.
And the priest has only been there a few years now, so I know it's well before his time. I don't know if he would even have any knowledge on that.
Sure.
So I mean, if the person from the church reaches out again, I'll talk to him and tell him to do a little digging and see what he can find on it.
So the church is the one that's asking,
Yes.
so get it updated.
What is the purpose of that fence?
I don't know. They have a pavilion out back that I know they're gonna try to clear up and start using again, but I'm not sure. The same fence line runs like behind Depot Court and I'm not really sure what the purpose is. There is an embankment a little ways off of that from their property. So, but I'm not sure who put the fence up and whose responsibility it is at this point. But I'm not gonna say we're just gonna go out and pay for it either. But I just figured I'd bring it up since we had a call on it. I'll wait till I'll let them do a little research on it, but I just figured I'd bring it up if anybody knew anything about it.
No, I think
Before
I think it's good to bring up, and I think we just need to get some more information on it before we can do anything about it.
Okay, well, I can have him do a little research too.
Does it look like it's a safety reason it's there?
Um. Not exactly. I mean, if you're wandering out of the pavilion and you're going like 20 feet away from it and started walking down the hill. I mean, I suppose it would keep you off that, but it's not.
Could they get hurt walking down it?
So could anybody else going up and down all these paths all over on the
Sure.
rail trail?
Yeah, I don't think it serves any purpose for the rail
No, not at all.
trail. So therefore, we shouldn't pay for it.
Okay, we'll leave it at that for now then. Unless we're convinced otherwise. But I
That's a pretty
think
good argument, John.
I was just gonna say that myself.
What's that?
That's a pretty good argument.
Yeah. Doesn't help us any.
The only other rail trail business I had is the striping. It's pretty well worn down on part of the trail. I looked, we had it done in June of 2020. I think we do have money in the budget still for rail trail maintenance. So it might be worth having that done this year too, along with the parking lot.
Okay.
And other than that, nothing else on the rail trail. Unless anybody else has anything. Next thing up is old business.
I don't know if it falls in that, what's the status of the dog park?
Um,
It's all renewed.
I think the group was looking at a different site and was gonna talk to somebody and, I was gonna get an update once they got a little more information back, but. The last I heard, it's probably not gonna be anything that happens this year,
2025,
2025, looks
Yeah.
like next year
okay,
before. Unless everything goes well for them, but I haven't gotten another update on anything. So as soon as I do, I'll let you know, or the group can come in and let us know. Any other new business?
no, I just want to mention, I emailed to everybody the fiscal 2026 budget review that I'm gonna be completing. I wasn't sure if anybody wanted to add anything or if there's anything we need. I'll be talking to David about, you know, if there's things at the park we need. Or a 5-year plan, like a mower or something. Cause they had mentioned something about the mowers last summer, kind of getting worn out.
That might be worth something, thinking about sometime coming up.
Yeah,
'Cause that's a pretty expensive piece of equipment and pretty much the whole thing's been replaced over the last couple of years.
so if anybody thinks of anything, just send me an email. I have to have that done by towards the end of January, so I have a couple weeks.
Okay. How old is that mower?
I was told it came with the park. Do you know anything about it, John?
The Skag was bought by Park and Rec.
Well, not
The,
the Skag, it's the red Toro, the one with the.
yeah, I donated that.
I
It
did,
came with the park.
Yeah,
Well-
well, they like it because they can get a lot of mowing done. With that, so they were talking about possibly getting a new one in the near future.
it served us well, but we did do like a transmission gearbox they put in this year, and the year before that, they did a axle and other things, so I mean, it's not inexpensive for the repairs. I did a little research on the new mowers, they're fairly pricey for something comparable to that. They were around 60,000, but doing it through a plan, you could get it so you're paying X amount a year for 5 years for financing to cover the thing, which might be worth a little more budget friendly to get started on something like that. So that's something we should probably think about, or I'll look into that a little bit more. I just looked into it quick last year.
Does R&R sell those?
No, this was through Turf Products. I had you open a PO through there when we
Yeah.
got the transmission last summer.
Okay.
So that's when I talked to him.
Okay,
On the budget line, Terry, you're comfortable with where we're at year to date? The annual budget?
yes,
We're 6 months through,
yes,
basically, you're
I think
comfortable with.
yeah.
We're not in fear of going over on some line items.
no, I think we're in good shape.
We basically have, once we open up like April, May, June, like 3 months left of it.
That will be, yeah,
Maybe,
which
but-
we'll use a lot in those months, but I think we're in good shape.
Okay,
Well,
Any other new business?
Motion to adjourn.
Any
I will
seconds?
second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I.